Greetings, students. I'm Dr. Sadi, your instructor, obviously, for this course. And today what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about Module 8. As you know, Module 8 focuses on our Exam 2. First thing I want to mention to you is, if you remember, Exam 1 was required for everybody, okay? And we did that just to make sure that everybody gets a chance to take that test. And then there would be two possibilities. One is if they do a great job and are happy with their score, no problem. But if they get a score less than 12 out of the 20 points, which means basically failing grade, then Exam 2 becomes required for them. So this exam, Exam 2, which is covering the second third of our semester, focuses only on modules 5, 6, and 7. All right? And it's only required for students who earn the score less than 12 out of total 20 in first exam. Everybody else is free to do what they want to do. If they want to take Exam 2, they're more than welcome. If they don't want to take Exam 2, also they're more than welcome. It's up to them. However, that said, it's my job to be not just your cheerleader, but also advisor, to say the good news and bad news at the same time. I don't see any reason for a student who got a very high score, let's say 16 and above, to really take Exam 2. Why? Because our research in the previous years, it shows that a lot of the students, even they got, let's say 16, 17, something like that, that's already a B, okay? And then they usually write me and say, Dr. Sadi, I'm not going to take the second exam because during that time I have other commitment. Of course, we know that. We know that you're taking other courses, obviously. We know that a lot of our students are so hardworking and, they don't have like a scholarship from their parents. What they do is basically they have to work and study, and some of them, they actually have family, children, husband, wife, other obligation, taking care of their parents or other elderly members of their family. So we understand that, okay? So you don't owe us an explanation, but it's my job as your instructor to make sure that I provide as many opportunities as possible to my students, to make sure that if they want to improve their score throughout the semester, they can, and they end our class with a grade that they are happy with, okay? That's the main thing. All right. So having said that one, let's put your mind to rest that if you have got a score which is above, it's 12 or above, and you're happy with it, you don't have to take this. Now, the next issue is the format of it. The format of all of our exam, Exam 1, Exam 2, or some people call Midterm 1, Midterm 2, is exactly the same as the format of our final exam, okay? This format was not something that I made up, This was done with the consultation with, and I owe them, for that, the, Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning, that they have experts, that they focus on a lot of, different type of, organizing different type of assessment. Also, with the help of our wonderful staff at the course development. We have course designers, we have course, coders, this, that, etc., etc. It's great. So I do owe them a great deal. Of course, to that one, I also bring the wonderful input that I've been getting throughout the years from my former students. Some of them, they use, as you know, the the anonymous weekly, the anonymous weekly survey that we have, which, as you know, is also optional. Is that right? The students who do not have a question, or they don't have a criticism, or they're happy with everything, they just don't need to do it. Is that right? Some of them, they just are so kind, They go and do it, and they say all these nice things about us. I don't know who they are, because it's anonymous, obviously. I'm very grateful. And as you notice, what happens is during the review session, usually what I do is I make, the answers to the previous surveys if the students have done it. Sometimes they haven't done it. They haven't done it. I cannot make it up. Is that right? But if the students have done the, the surveys related to a particular exam, then, I can download it, answer the questions, and then post it in our announcement. So that's what I do as well. So we talked about the status of the exam. We talked about for whom it's required, for whom it's not. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, as I kind of highlighted before, the structure or the format is the same. So it's just like first exam. The first part of it are 7 objective questions. You've taken first exam, The second part of it are short answers. Here you do actually have an option. I noticed that there were some people in exam 1 that we said, choose only 2 out of the 5 short answers, and they answered all 5. There was a student who didn't answer actually one of the short answers, answered only 1. So I wrote him, I said, why did you penalize yourself, So you answer anything less than 2, you're penalizing yourself. You answer anything more than 2, we have to penalize you because you're violating the, exam board, instructions. All right. So, and then after that, you get to the final part of our exam, which is the essay questions. Well, when we get to the essay questions, very simple. We have 3 essays, 1 essay from each module. And the reason I say that is because students, they write me, they say, Dr. Sadie, which one of the modules should I focus on? Well, I would say focus on all 3 and then see which one of the essays is going to show up, because as you know, when you log in into the Canvas, even if you're sitting with several other students, or let's say the entire class, okay, because we have such a really large question bank that the Canvas is going to go over there and choose 7 questions, objective questions for you, 5 short answer questions for you, 3 essays for you, and your selection is going to be very different with the person who's sitting next to you or everybody else who's in this lab or wherever you're taking your exam, okay? That's just the way it is. However, that said, what is the essays? You need to answer only 1. Read all 3 of them. Don't answer the very first one. Read all 3 of them. See which one of them you have a better, argument for. Okay, so try to impress me with the quality answers you give, not because, you think that's a tougher question and I'm going to impress my professor. No, I get impressed with your answer, not with the selection of your question. And that has happened several times. Students, they say, oh, Dr. Sadie, I chose actually the tougher one to show you that, hey, I can do it, All right. For essay, please do not forget a couple of things. Number 1, do not forget to put your outline before you start. Outline, remember, is very short. Look at our look at our sample. Okay, I have everything for you over there before you actually even look at that. First of all, as you know, our exam instruction is available. You don't have to use your precious 1 hour time, to read the instruction. Go and read the instruction ahead of time. 2, I have put sample. I put sample. Outline and a sample question for you. I have 2 types of sample. One is a shorter version, one is a longer version with more instruction telling you exactly how you should how you should do your outline, and then how you should organize your essay. Basically, we are focused on a 5-point scale outline, Roman number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, okay? Number 1 starts with an introduction. Roman number 5 ends with a conclusion. And the 3 between are basically the 3 questions that, as I mentioned before, every political scientist has to answer. The what question, the why question, the how question. And as you can see on the example that I put over there for you, the what questions answer is description, and definition. Like, for example, what is the definition of power? Okay, please describe. The why question would be a comparison, an analysis, a description. It's not a description. It's like a discussion of it, better to say. Is that right? So, for example, for that one, you say why power is different. So power is different. You compare it with the concept that a lot of people, they confuse it with, which is the concept of force. So you compare and contrast power and force. Power, ability to persuade. Force is the actual usage of violence to achieve your goal or to change somebody's behavior. The same thing with, in terms of the focus is still on human behavior. So power would be ability to persuade someone to change their behavior. Is that right? And then force would be the ability to use, coercion to change somebody's behavior. That's about it. Then you get to the third question, which is the how question. Now, here, do not expect necessarily the question word how right there. Most of the time, the essay puts an article there, and it says, how does this article, is that right? And usually, not usually, always is a required article reading from that particular module is related to your discussion and to your essay. Okay, two possibilities. The article that you remember, is that right? So from every module, remember at least one of the articles very, very well. So you have a description of it, you remember who the author was, hopefully, and you remember what they argued, with the strength of it, the weaknesses of it, is that right? So two possibilities. The argument you make with the article you remember, either they go together well or they don't. Okay, if they go together, it's a very easy task. If they don't go together, what are you going to do? Very simple. You make your argument, and then at the end of it say, of course, the article, that we read for this one was presenting a different point of view. So as you can see, even if the article, and most of the time it's like that, even if the article is presenting a different perspective, you're not losing anything. Okay? You're not being penalized. You're getting actually more brownie points because you're showing that, hey, there's a different perspective about this one. I argue for this, but there are different ideas. That's all. All right? So here we go. The next thing that I wanted to mention is that, remember, an essay is not a posting. In an essay, the instruction says, please, in your essay, please refer to. It doesn't say document. It doesn't say cite the reading, the textbook or the articles. It just says refer to. Refer to means that, this is what you say. Esposito suggested blah, blah, blah. Bill suggested such and such. Johns Hopkins suggested this and that. David Caruso suggested blah, blah, blah. Is that right? You don't, at the end of that sentence, you don't open a parenthesis, say, Smith, comma, page 2, parenthesis close. You do that, it's okay for doing it for posting. That's not acceptable for essay. Basically, you're documenting how you cheated, okay? Because the exams are a closed book exam. You can't open up your stuff. You can't open up your, readings or anything else. Most likely, everything is going to be locked up anyway, So, you don't do that. And it clearly says it's a closed book exam. So that's very important to remember. What else should I mention about that? I already told you, go and read the instruction, You're required for the 7 objective question, then only 2 short answers out of 5, and only 1 essay. Is that right? Our course designers, they say for that many questions, you need to give them, it's generous to just give them 40 minutes, maximum 45 minutes. That's why my instruction to keep my course development, staff happy, I say, look, this exam is designed for 45 minutes, but you have up to 60 minutes. So that extra 15 minutes is what I'm giving you. If on the first exam you had an issue with your time management, I'm hoping, like the other students, you contacted me and I taught you some techniques. And a couple of students, they send me a general message. They say, look, Sadi, I can't come to your office hours. I'm an online student, this and that. Could you give me an answer? Okay, it's understandable if you cannot come to campus. I don't expect everybody to come to campus during my office hours. All right. But at least ahead of time, not at the last minute, provide me with what? A telephone number, the best day to reach you and the best times to reach you. Then I email you back and say, John, Mary, among the times that you provided, I'm going to call you on such and such day at such and such time. Okay? Because I don't have any telephone in my, UCF office anyway. We have the equipment. It doesn't work. They haven't paid for the service. So, and I'm not supposed to use my own cell phone to contact students because it's against rules. All right. So what I do is, because I have an office in Titusville. It's actually a government office that I do for my consulting for them and everything. That one has a phone number. It's a government phone number. I can't give it to you, okay? But at least I can call you from that one. And, since you already know when to expect, what day, which was one of the days you chose, what time, which is one of the time you chose, the number, which is a number that you chose, I call you on that time, I answer all your questions. First of all, I learn about your study habits, what you do, what you don't do. Then based on that information you give me, I can give you an appropriate answer for you, okay? You are not a robot to have exactly the same problem as everybody else. Every student is different. All right. So I'm hoping that you do that. Some students that wanted to see me, they say, "Oh, Dr. Sadi, these are the time. Thank you so much. But instead of a phone call, I want to see you and this and that. And I send you a Zoom link." Fine. You want me to call you? I call you. You want to send me a Zoom link during the time that we both agreed? Because the time that I'm not teaching you guys, I'm either teaching a face-to-face class, or I'm in a committee, which is a lot of time, or I'm doing other stuff for UCF. Even my consulting is associated because UCF gets brownie points of faculty members who are active, and one foot is in the academia, the other foot is in policy areas, and they're contributing to, because every time they introduce me, they say, Dr. Sadi, Professor of International Relations at the University of Central Florida. Fine, okay? So anyway, so that's what it is. It's not like, for example, I just teach your class online and I just go over there and the rest of the time I'm napping or I'm sitting on Cocoa Beach and drinking coconut juice. No, that's not the case, all right? Don't worry. They take really quite a bit out of us. You know, by the time we get home, it's usually night and we are exhausted. And if I can just go to the gym, do a little bit of physical activity, so at least my mental tiredness is equal with my physical tiredness and I can at least sleep or something. That's about it. All right. So enough about that. If you have, I covered the instruction, I covered the other stuff, and I told you about the time issue. If you have time issues, you need to contact me ahead of time. I can help you with that. My suggestion has always been that because essay is so important for a lot of people, if you see that, for example, spending too much time on objective, part, distract you from other things, go and do this essay first, then short answers. So when you do the essay, 2 points for the outline, 5 points for those 5 separate paragraphs, each one related to one of the Roman numerals. That's already 7 points. Then you go to the short answers, you do 2 answers, is that right? 3 points each. 3 and 3 is 6. 6 and 7 is 13 points already. Then if you go back to the objective one, first of all, you have enough time for it. Second of all, even if you answer only 3 out of the 7 correctly, already you have a B. You have a 16 out of 20. All right? Okay, so that would be one general technique I can help you with. But more specific issues are the ones that I prefer to find out more about how you do it and then find out exactly how we can help you. All right? If you have any question about the material, because there is no way I can cover all the material in modules, 5, 6, and 7 in just a few minutes in the video, I thought this video is going to hopefully help you. Thank you. All right? Good luck. I'm looking forward to seeing, you ace this one, and then you drop your what? We drop the score from the very first one, okay? But you're not under obligation unless, as I mentioned before, you have a score of what? Less than 12. All right? You take care. Bye.